Okay, let's dive into Marmoset Toolbag 5. This is the beta version, and we're going to take a look at Carve Groups. Carve Groups are a new feature, so let's jump in and take a look at how we use that. So I've already set up this project. I've already baked out my object. I have a texture project, and in the texture project over here, I've applied some different layers. So we have mud dry, and I've changed this so that it's just a dirty, grungy look. And then we have aluminum worn, rust speckled, and paint flaked. We're going to go ahead and use a Carve Group to blend these different layers together. So let's go to a different layout here, and I'm going to select the layers that I want to use in a Carve Group. So I'm going to use these top three, and we're going to go ahead and click on the icon for a new Carve Group. And when I do that, I can click over here on the Carve Group and we can get this gradient. Now nothing's happened yet, but let's take a look at what this gradient's going to do. This gradient is going to assign the different layers to the different portion of the gradient. Now, I have this background layer here, so I don't care if this aluminum worn gets eroded away by the gradient. So I'm going to click on this checkbox here that says invisible base layer. And now we can see which portion of the gradient will be assigned to aluminum worn. This portion of the gradient will be rust speckled, and then the top end, the lighter part of the gradient, will be paint flaked. Now, obviously right now, if I make changes, nothing happens. We need a gradient that's going to go ahead and drive these changes. So if we jump back over to our project, one of the maps that I've baked is the thickness map. And here it's a gradient from black to white. And so we're going to use that to drive our Carve Group. So over here on the Carve Group, we're going to go ahead and apply thickness. And so now we see a change over here. So this thickness gradient is driving the Carve Group. Let's go ahead and increase the intensity. And let's increase the contrast. So now we're starting to get a much better result, and we can see how these different materials or these different layers are being blended together. I'm going to go ahead and increase the sharpness, just get a little more. I like this speckled look here. Okay, so that's the basics of using a Carve Group. Now we can apply other elements to affect the gradient here on the Carve Group. We can also apply different masks to the individual layers here. So it provides a lot of flexibility to give you a lot of different looks. Just to show how we can apply additional masks to the other layers, if we look at this reddish layer here, the paint flaked, it's pretty solid in there. I'd like to break that up a little bit. So let's come over here to paint flaked, and I'm going to go ahead and add some dirt to that. And on the dirt, let's go ahead and just throw in a grunge map. Let's find something. Let's just throw this in here. And just so I can see it a little bit better, I'm going to go ahead and change the blending mode to multiply. I'm going to go ahead and pull this paint flaked out and put it on top so I can see it, see the effects a little bit better. So I'm going to increase the intensity and the contrast here. And that's starting to break it up a little bit better. So without having you guys watching me hit all these sliders for a while, let's just go ahead and drop this back into our Carve Group. And I'm starting to like that. It's broken it up a little bit. And then obviously we can just keep tweaking this until we get something that we like. But that's the basics of Carve Groups. Hopefully that helps you get up and running with them. If you create something great with Carve Groups, I'd love to see how you're using this new feature in Marmoset Toolbag 5.